Now today, what I thought I'd share, one of the shop projects, something everybody in the world can relate to. If you have an older bike, this belongs to Mark Morgan, by the way, and this is a little bit of an intricate repair to what happens to be a stock part that's probably very expensive or unavailable or whatever. What he did was he broke this part. Well, he didn't break it, whoever did. Usually people tighten these bolts too much and it cracks. And in this case, it cracked right off. So luckily, as Mark is pretty knowledgeable about this stuff, he saved the part, and that's real important. Tape it inside the part. Makes my job a little bit easier if I don't have to recreate the part from scratch. Now, we're going to be recreating some Benelli parts very soon, but in this case, I don't want to have to recreate it. This is not that kind of a thing. So what I want to do is I want to first make sure this piece fits, and I'll show my little technique. It's kind of straightforward, but again, it's not everybody knows it. This is cyanoacrylate. It's available from BRODAK. This is thin. And let me just give BRODAK's phone number, 724. I can't even read it. Well, let me go get my glasses. 966-2726. You would think I didn't need glasses at this point in my life. Anyway, what I'll do is put a little bit of the thick on and put it on both sides. Now we're going to do a refinish, a repaint on this eventually, so I'm not worried about the cosmetic part of the outside. What I want to do is build some structure into this. Then what I want to do is line up the part, make sure it lines up as well as I can get it, and usually that'll take a second or two. Whoop. I'll try not to drop it. Nice thing about CA, it doesn't even matter if you drop it. Again, I want to line it up, get it perfectly lined up. One hit with kicker that kicks it right off. All the model plane guys know exactly how that works. Motorcycle guys, not so much. Now that part is going to start to stay on there in about 2 seconds. It's not totally dry, so we'll work the other side first. The other side, rather than wait for it to crack, I may as well reinforce it right now, but I see it's already cracked. So as long as I have the CA out, and again, because a lot of these parts are hard to find, if you can find them at all, and when you do find them, of course, they're not pokey prices, they're, I don't know. I saw the price for some of those H1 parts. Wow. Amazing. But anyway, CA of course works really, really well. With plastic, they even make a special CA just for plastic. We don't really need it because there's not that much stress on this part. We really want to do like a cosmetic repair. When we do the repaint on this, Mark hasn't bought the paint yet, we'll do the total wet sand that out, smooth it out, but for right now, this one is cracked, and you can see these parts really do take a beating. As a lot of the older sport bikes, the fairings, when you repaint them, you have a whole day of just repairing fairings, which, if you can get in from both sides, it's nice. Sometimes wiping it with a Q-tips will just kick it off good enough, but the kicker does it instantly. Now at that point, we're nice and solid. Now we got something to work with. Let me look for any other cracks, nothing in the back. And it's usually just these people, whoever rides, tightening these bolts too tight. So, what I want to do now, to do a nice repair on this, I want to take some clean sandpaper. Anytime you're using carbon fiber CA epoxy, you got to go to a clean, a rough surface. So I want to roughen that up. I've already cleaned it with M600. Let me I'll do one side of this, and then I think you pretty much can get the idea of what has to be done. Now, unfortunately for us, and I didn't notice this before, whoever tried to fix this before used probably chewing gum or something that I want to get off. I want to go back down to, let me show it up close. See, I like to do everything without camera cuts. I don't like the idea that, you know, oh, that might have taken a half hour. I want you to see in real life. This is chewing gum glue. I just noticed over here there's some chewing gum glue. Well, you know what? Chewing gum glue is not going to work. In my case, now that I know there's chewing gum glue on there, available at all Lowe's, by the way, what I can do is take a piece of old sandpaper and just basically get rid of it. Because if I glue a carbon fiber piece to chewing gum, it's only going to be as strong as the chewing gum. So what's the point? In this case, I don't want to even think about it. Now another thing I can do here, I didn't give this a thought. I probably, because chewing gum glue doesn't even, I know you're wondering what chewing gum glue is. The rougher this is, the better, by the way. Can get some of that material off. But you really do want to go into a rough, clean surface. Not a smooth surface. You never want to try to glue a piece of glass. The rougher the better. The more I can roughen this up, the better it's all going to stick. So now that I've got that, this will definitely clean that up a little bit. Make sure we didn't crack it. No, we didn't. Now I can go, easiest part of the whole job. Go to the box of carbon fiber scraps. Find an appropriate piece of carbon fiber, of which we have basically endless amounts. Get a scissor. Let's see what that piece looks like. Again, this does not have to be really fancy. Makes it a lot easier when you know at the end of the job you're going to do the cosmetic work separately, a separate entity. We've done a lot of stuff for Vlad, getting his parts ready for the winter. Actually, he should be here today. Now this is how I do it. There's a million other ways to do this. Don't think this is the only way to do it. But this way, and the glue is relatively expensive relative to epoxy, so try to make efficient use of it. Get it right up on the edge. Obviously wear rubber gloves. Again, we're not trying to make it pretty in any way. We want it to not crack after we do all the cosmetic work. Now the thick usually gives me about a minute to work before it starts kicking off. So for that minute I can press this down. And really, once you see this once, and you pull your bike apart and there's cracks in the part, all you need is, you actually, for this kind of a thing, you don't even need carbon fiber. You could use e-glass, the stuff you buy that they make boats out of, anything. And the CA is available from BRODAK Hobby Shop. So you're not talking about really any money at all to do a really good repair. Now that's starting to kick off now. I can smell it because my eyes are starting to water. It's nice if you have ventilation when you do this. Not critical, but it's nice if you do. And once that goes down, and I can see we pretty much have it. I'm pushing it down with just ordinary Q-tips. And again, there's a million ways to do this kind of stuff. You can do this with resin, you can do it with epoxy. But boy, CA is just, first off, it bonds better to everything, especially the capillary stuff. Now we get a little high tech. Now what we're going to do is take a paper towel. This is really high tech. This is now just the least little bit sticky. I have the thin CA. I'm just going to wet it with thin CA, which is capillary. Take the end of a paper towel. Don't dare do it with your bare finger, or you'll set your finger on fire. This penetrates and sets off the original layer of CA that's in there. I don't really want to use kicker at this point in time because I'm not in a rush. If we were at the racetrack and you were going to go back out for another session, well, that would be different. Yeah, you want to get this done or not make it crack more or ride naked or something. But now, just an old piece of sandpaper, doesn't even have to be new. While it's still just the least little bit sticky, just the least little bit. And you can do this, that's why I like to do these things in real time. You can see how long it's taken me to do this. Now if we had a fairing, or if we have, when I do the one on the Benelli, I got to recreate the mirror mounts from scratch. That'll be a lot more sophisticated. This is a basic 101, how to repair. I'm not looking at the camera, so I don't know if this is taking me 5 minutes or 8 minutes or 3 minutes or what. But that basically now, oh my God, you could pick the whole part up by that. That's a basic 101 repair. Now there's a little secret thing too. I'm not going to be able to do this on camera because it's going to take too long. This is the seat that comes with the double seat, and you see it has a little tang. Now everybody breaks these off. What I'm saying is here's the one that's broken off, and it's glued on with the same glue. The silly glue, rubber glue, whatever it is. But what Mark conveniently did is he bought this part, which we're going to cut that piece off. I'll do this all off camera. Then I have to figure out, I have to make a little piece of balsa wood with where that exactly lines up, relative to the height and relative to the side. Because I'm going to have to grind that down and then take that piece, put it in here, and then cover it. Cover the whole base of it with carbon fiber to reinforce it so it doesn't break again. But again, I think from that little demo, I just can't picture anybody that couldn't figure out the rest of that. And that any sport bike that has any bike pit, anything, a guitar, that's a really nice way using CA. I want to make sure I get that phone number on there. See, I try to work without my glasses. That one doesn't have a phone number. And the reason I like to buy this stuff from BRODAK as opposed to a hobby shop, it's always fresh. He has a big turnover. And the number is 724-966-2726. Tell them you're a friend of Wendy's and they'll add $1 to the price. Just kidding, John. Anyway, that is one nice repair. Now when we go to do the cosmetic part of this, absolute piece of cake. We'll block sand this down. No point doing it ahead of time. Run some thin CA in there and rub it. That part hopefully will never crack again. Now what'll happen is if you happen to be at one of our little bike get-togethers and you see Mark's bike and you see it cracked again, you'll know it's my fault. Anyway, Mark, I think that's going to be a good repair. Now we'll do the other side off camera. It won't make any difference. We'll just put the piece right over the crack. The crack's already permanently on there. But that's technology I think everybody can use.